We'll open the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Roll call.
Young. Here. Luco.
Here.
Elmo.
Here.
Craig. Porsche.
Here. Okay. Next item are the minutes from last meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the ours. I'll make a motion we approve the meeting. Second. Then it says aye.
Roll call.
Porsche.
Yes.
Luco.
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Elmo.
Yes. Okay, next item would be the bills.
Make a motion to go out and pay the presumed.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Luco.
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Porsche.
Yes.
Elmo.
Yes. Next item would be the county clerk's report.
I'll make a motion to accept the county clerk's report.
Second. Okay. Next,
Roll call.
Roll call.
Porsche.
oh, roll call, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Luco.
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Elmo.
Yes. Okay, visitors and guests. Nobody special today. Any public comment? Mr. Dahl is not here, is he?
He's got a thing with it.
Yeah, he's got a thing.
But he didn't act on it.
No, they did not have to do any motions,
So,
it's more or less information now.
yeah. So I don't think we can do anything on it.
We have another thing on the agenda there.
Yeah, Glenn and Debbie Miller is on the discussion and dispute. I don't see them in here.
They do, but
We just passed with $5 late fee.
$5. Oh, $10 you had to say.
And sing.
Okay. All right, they're not here. Mr. Pestle is not here with the Highway Department. Bond County Bicentennial, there was a meeting and the other night, and it's starting to roll. So I will give a little information. They're looking at 4th of July. Kingsbury Park District has been trying to get the fireworks here in town and have, like on Saturday, have things around the square to do, and we would be part of that, the county. Yes.
Can I just correct you one thing here, Howard? It's not the Park District, they don't have anything
Oh,
to do with it.
it's the
The Fourth Fest.
Fourth Fest, I'm sorry, yeah. Have they acted on that yet?
No, we haven't met, we
Yeah.
won't meet till next month sometime.
Yeah, okay, all right. And the fireworks will be on Tuesday night, and I understand they wanted to go Tuesday evening, be some celebration up here. So, okay. Now, the next item will be the Tree County Public Water District request for reappointment of 5-year term ending in 2021 of Alan Mettler. He's been recommended. So, any comments on that? Okay. Next item would be vacancy on the Highland-Pierron Fire Protection District. Gary Zerlini has resigned, and they've got a recommendation for Jim Pottis for a 3-year term ending April 30th, 2019. So, and
We're good, I think we're good.
we're good on that. Next month, I will do that. Okay. The next item is we've got a resolution to approve fees for the circuit clerk. And I asked Rex to talk to us about that. And I don't think you've got anything right here. So, have you looked at them?
Yeah.
Okay, listen, have you looked at them? So go ahead, Rex, and we'll let you kind of.
I don't, this is something that's required by statute that you guys approve the circuit clerk's fee, which is one of the 3 fees that my office collects that are part of the general fund. Okay, and this covers all kinds of things. And in the statutes, they give you a range, $5 to $15 for this, or $50 to $150 or something, because everything has a different range. And so what we've been trying to do is to go back and state the fees and look all of our fees together in a little more distinct fashion. So when you file something, you know all your money is going to. I have a 17-page document that goes through for all the different things that my office does. Mostly, this is just on the civil side of things too, by the way. And so it lists the clerk's fee, the court fee, automation fee, library fee, yada yada, all the different fees and how much it costs, just so the public knows where their money's going and what they're paying for. This got boiled down to a 7-page document, and did you all get a copy of that?
We just got one, which.
Okay, well, I can pass this around, but this is just the clerk's fees. It doesn't give you all the other things, because this is the only thing we're talking about you voting on tonight. So it's been this whole 17-page document has been an effort with my staff to go through and make sure that we have all the various categories named and that we're consistent with the way the fees go. I think things over some time have kind of gotten skewed. I don't know when this was last done, but it's been a long time ago, and it's just time to do it again. So that's what we're doing. We're just getting ourselves caught up and making what we're doing official, and making, I think, some minor adjustments here and there just to make, of all the different categories, to make it work properly.
Questions?
Make a motion, we pass a resolution fixing fees for the office of the clerk of the circuit court, resolution number, I guess, 08-16-1601. Pretty close.
Got it. We haven't seen it yet, so we didn't have a chance to put a number on it. That's the way we do it.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Luco.
Yes.
Portia.
Yes.
McCray.
Yeah.
Young.
Yes.
Elmore.
Yeah, I'm going to.
Oh, you need it?
That,
Yes, sir.
that's all right.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
And we're judicial, this I presume.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, okay, Mr. Williford with Glenn and Debbie Miller are here, zoning discussion and potential dispute. So, you want to,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm gonna actually have Ms. Miller is going to address the board first, and I may, I'm going to add some things to that, but Ms. Miller is going to address the board first, if you so like.
Hi, my name is Debbie Miller, and I live at 1911 Winchester Lane in Greenville out in the county. Back in early 2015, I made an appointment, well, I didn't make an appointment, I called Mr. Dahl, Ed Dahl, and asked him if he would come into the county and look at some property that was next door to us due to what I felt was too many outbuildings, too much junk, violations of the ordinances. He told me he would be out in a couple days to take a look at it. So 6 weeks later, and 5 phone calls later on my behalf, I have made phone calls. He told me there was nothing he was going to be able to do for me, and that I said, okay, so what about the setbacks? He said there are no setbacks in Brown County. And I said, okay, so what about the junk and all that stuff? And he said, well, I know you're from the city and you might not be used to this, but out in the county we do things differently. And you have to get used to a little bit more junk. And if I take care of that here, I have hundreds of other families I will have to deal with. So that was the answer I received. So my husband and I made an appointment and sat down with Mr. Elmore and discussed these situations with him. We showed him photographs of the neighbor's property, and all the violations were clearly visible. Mr. Elmore looked at all the photographs and agreed with me that it was full of violations. And he told me that he would talk to Mr. Dahl and see what he could get done. We thanked him for the meeting, told him we were glad to have somebody on our side that would finally listen to us, and he said, no problem, we'll take care of it. So he then contacted Mr. Dahl and the gentleman from the county health department, because we have some kind of something running on our property. We don't know if it's coming from their sewer or what it is, because they don't have an approved septic system on the property. So we don't know if it's raw sewage or what it is running on us. And so they came out and evidently got back with Mr. Elmore. And Mr. Elmore contacted me and told me there are no violations. So my question to the board is, how can they go from violations to no violations? Thank you.
Thank you. You have something else?
Yeah, I went out there with the health department guy, and that sewer system's approved. It was all up to date, everything there for the house. He's got an aeration system, and it's got a sock in it, and it had tablets in it. And it doesn't run into your ditch, it runs more northeast.
Well, then you must have been looking at a different one then. Because the one that we are speaking of, when the health department came out to look at the septic system, it was already installed. And
Right.
there was
And
no
that's
permit
been-
issued.
It's been there for years.
It was only put in 2006.
Well, that's why I
Or,
mean, that's.
yeah, 2006.
it's
The
been
other
there
one was
for
put
quite a
in
while,
96.
but it's running, it doesn't run towards your ditch, the laterals run up towards the northeast.
That'd be
It's
good.
right.
I think I'll address that probably.
Okay.
I think that's a different property than what we're talking about. There's 2 properties there, and maybe I can clarify that for everybody just a little bit here. And I'll try to do so
All right.
quickly, but I want to thank the board for having me back. I think what Ms. Miller was referring to is one of the major issues with the, and excuse me if I turn that over, I'm sorry. One of the major issues that we have is, and I'll just pass this around, we have 3 major issues. You have the issue of, you have a property that is 2.1 acres and some other acreage on the other side, which violates your 5-acre rule. And you can see that clearly from the documents we presented here. 2.1 there. There are 2 different properties located which clearly violates your 5-acre rule. I'll show you document number 2, which shows that Jason Volkin, which I believe, Mr. Porcho, that's maybe what you're referring to. That's the only septic system that I've seen anything, I'll provide you documents for there, that are out there. But there's a separate residence now for Edwin Franklin. It's at 1337 Bull, not 1341 Bull where Mr. Volkin lives. So that has been separated in violation of the rule, and this will just show you different addresses showing that. So one of the major issues is nobody came here for a variance. Nobody came here to get anything done. And then separately, now we're dealing with this issue and adding more properties, more outbuildings, more dwellings, as I would say, to to this property. Also provide the warranty deeds that show when that was done. And that goes back from a title search. Now, we have FOIA'd all information from both the health department and the county regarding this. And everything I have is included in there, and it's scarce to say the least. But it is zoned residential. Mr. Franklin owns 2.1 acres somehow on this side, which abuts next to my client's property. We have 3 issues. The first one would be that.
Just a minute.
Yes.
You say it's zone residential.
Yes.
In it A1.
Is it A1 or R1?
It's R1.
I think it's A1.
I'd be happy to show you Article 3 of your zoning amendments that said agricultural has to be a minimum area of district of 40 acres. That's what your zoning ordinance says.
5 acres.
5 acres to build a home.
Still, it could be A1 on 5 acres.
Does your 5 acre rule still stand?
Well, was that his daughter who sold that house to?
I don't know.
At 2 acres?
When was it,
If that was his daughter, you're allowed to do that once.
and when was
Was that a
that?
variance?
No, but he'll ask to just come in and get a variance.
Didn't happen.
Huh?
Didn't happen, or nothing's been produced to us showing it did.
But I mean, he could come in and do it now if that's what he wants.
If it's an R1, it's.
So I'm not trying to be condescending. So we're saying just do whatever you want and come in later and
No, but
get it
we've
approved.
had, he probably should have came in first, but if that's a relative, they can do that.
Let's talk about what's happened since then. But I disagree
I
with you
thought
on
that
that.
was A1.
I thought.
Well, I'm going to show you what was produced to us in,
Yeah.
went through the FOIA showing it's residential. I don't know if you can do 2.1 acres on a A1 tract or not. I wouldn't think so. And,
Well, if the relative, you can, one time.
well, now we're doing it 2 times is what our intention will be. So, showing you those documents, there's been another building built out there, which we have reason to believe, and Mr. Dahl, I believe, he's not here, so he can't speak for himself, has reason to believe that there is somebody else residing.
Is that the new one on the very west end?
No,
Is that the one that's closest to your driveway,
It'd be on the east end.
that building?
it's
They
a
built
whole
the west.
one north.
They built it last fall.
I can show you the documents here
Yeah,
that,
he's not living, we was out there with the health inspector, he was not living in there. He's got a building there, but he's not living there
okay,
yet. And
and
it has no septic system. Or nothing, it doesn't have water in it or anything. And we were there.
so you did an inspection of the property?
Yeah, I've been out there 4 times.
Okay.
I've been out there with Howard, I've been out there with Mr. Dahl twice, I've been out there with Bill once. And Bill, we went and walked in the ditch, and that's where we found that septic system is where Mr. Franklin lives, right outside of his front door, off to the right, there's an irrigation system.
I have some pictures here that maybe everybody would want to look at too. And I'll let Mr. and Mrs. Miller describe those when we're done. But I think there's some pictures to show that there is a residence there, and there is also a travel trailer with somebody residing there.
Yeah, he sleeps there, he's sleeping there when he's there, but it's not hooked up to water, it's not hooked up to electricity, there's nothing hooked up to it. It's just
So
sitting in
that
shed.
here again, we would
I
have
got one
dwelling
of them
on.
sitting by my shed. My boy keeps it there in the wintertime when he's not camping.
Somebody would be residing there would go against your code, I believe. So, we have a 2.1 acre tract that's been split into from a 5, which is our first issue. And now we have a 2.1 acre tract where we build another housing structure plus an auxiliary structure, which your code specifically does not allow for. Your code does not allow
Are
for,
you calling the shed a house then?
if somebody is residing there, yes.
He's not, he wasn't residing when he's there.
If somebody's residing somewhere else on a
Yeah, he
structure.
he goes to his mom and dad's house, take a shower, and use the bathroom. That's what he told us. And he Bill's happy with that. I mean, when he didn't have nothing hooked up with the travel trailer, you know, I know he's not taking a shower in there because there's no water. There's no water hose, no electric lines, no nothing going with that.
Okay. Well, it was the exact time that he got evicted from his other house. This house was built, this pole barn, and I believe the Millers would be better equipped to tell you what they've seen than I would, and they will do so in a moment. So that's the first issue, and I believe Mr. and Mrs. Miller will be very equipped to tell you what they've seen at their property. I've been out there several times, but they will tell you that. Number two, setbacks. Setbacks are definitely an issue, and from your zoning ordinance, here again, I'm gonna say R1, because I don't see how you fit in agriculture. You have a 25-foot setback, not from the center line, but from the right-of-way. They have pictures that they will show you and describe to you, showing numerous instances where the setbacks have not been enforced. And so we have two issues there. That brings us to really one of the bigger issues that we actually have, is that we have a lack of enforcement of zoning, which is causing them to lose property values. And that has been shown by your own board of review at the assessor's
We
office.
got grain bins built right in the road ditch.
So I'm sorry if
I mean, how do we?
are we being glib
don't-
about that? About the ordinances that doesn't mean anything?
And when were those buildings built?
The last one was built in 2015.
The first ones?
All during the time.
When? I mean, when? What year?
I would hope your board and your zoning administrator would know that. We didn't receive that through any of the FOIA information. I think they can tell you what they've seen.
Zoning began in 1990. It was when the bill had the zoning ordinance.
I believe they can tell
And
you
if
whether they
it,
believe the
if it
buildings
was
were built.
after that. But before that, everything was grandfathered in.
Do you want to?
Well, I know they bought the property in 1996. And when Ed came out of prison in 2003 was when he converted that. He went in 3, came out in 6, is when he converted the Quonset hut into a residence, which is also against your ordinances. And did it without building permits.
I think this is going into a court situation, and this is not what this is for. I believe if you've got a problem, as I told you back years ago, that you need to go another way, which would be file suit.
So you're asking for zoning ordinances to have to be done through civil matters rather than through regular zoning enforcement?
They're in. Chris, can you help us out here a little? But the zoning, was this built before 1990?
No.
Well, the
Mr. Miller said they bought it in 1996. I mean,
But it could have been there before then, if he bought it.
So you're giving me hypotheticals of why we need to now go to court.
I
Well-
don't think the Quonset hut is within the 25-foot setback, but everything that else that they put there is. The Quonset
And
hut
we have
may
the-
have been there, I don't know.
In a 2015 structure. Let's get to
Well,
one
that's,
of the,
is that name one? Somebody needs to find out.
let's get to more overriding issues.
I was at the annex building and they told me it's residential ground.
I've handed you your ordinance, and Mr. Bauer, I believe I'm correct. The ordinance states that A1 has a minimum requirement of 40 acres.
No.
No.
that's the district. You're confusing the district with lot size. So
It should be able.
I mean, I don't know how to explain that to me, Brock, why they say one, they put in for a building permit.
Anybody can circle anything. I don't care if it is A1. You're still not split, we're still
I'm
dividing.
just saying, you
we're
keep
still
saying,
dividing
we're arguing to
2.1.
say one, you're saying it's R1, and I'm just, his building permit, they had A1 circle. I mean, there's nothing else circle.
And we don't have Mr. Dahl here to
Yeah.
differentiate that.
Yeah.
The third aspect of this is, and I'm gonna let them have their piece, because I think they deserve it after this amount of time and so forth. But they've lost money, your own board, your own supervisors have found out or came to determination that their value in properties went down because of this. And one of your ordinance 08-2091 says that your general purpose is to conserve and increase the value of taxable property throughout the county. That's what a zoning ordinance should be for, is to do that. On April 11, 2016, the Board of Review reduced this property value based upon the neighboring property not being in zoning conformity.
They have reduced a lot of property values this.
Do you want to
year
come sit
lately.
and tell about your discussion with the Board of Review?
There wasn't all that there before they bought their house and built it?
No,
No.
What wasn't there?
all that was there was that Quonset
Quonset.
and Jason Vulcan's house.
That was all that was there.
That's all that was there.
That was in
And it was
'04.
being used as a shed. Because we bought that property back in 2004, during which time Mr. Franklin was in prison.
When did you build your house?
We built our house in 2007, 8, 9, somewhere like that.
7,
We
8.
moved in 9, so 7, 8, something like that.
I'm going to let them go through the pictures with you because obviously they have a better understanding of that.
Do they even want to
I
send
don't
me
think,
that? I don't know why.
I don't think it's pretty clear that I can take any action.
Yeah, we'll look at them.
What?
Get up there.
My,
We're happy to look at them.
with all due respect to Mr. Dahl, some of you know where I work. If I take a phone call and the complainant specifically requests to remain anonymous, and I reveal that person's identity to the suspect, and that person comes to harm, the complainant is harmed, or the property is damaged as a result, I'm sued, city sued, Bond County sues. It's a no-brainer. My wife, when she talked with Mr. Dahl, repeatedly requested not her name and identity not be revealed. The Franklins both told me, these are both felons, both of these gentlemen are felons we're talking about, convicted felons. He said, Dahl tells us everything you tell them. Told that to my face while he's shouting at us with physical threats when we're walking on property. Okay? Mr. Dahl should not have revealed our names as complainants when he was out there inspecting that property. And if my barn burns down, my house burns down, my wife is raped when I'm in here working midnights, I have a real problem with that. I think any of you would also, if you had requested to remain anonymous, and Mr. Dahl violated that trust. Yes, sir.
That says,
Yes, sir.
your wife talked to me about it, told me about it. I mean, if she's gonna tell,
That was long, long after the
yeah, but I
fact.
mean, you told me. I mean, if you're gonna tell people, I mean, I asked Ed who it was, and he said, well, I can't tell you. And I said, well, I know who it is, who's in their house. I mean, I know it ain't gonna be somebody 10 miles away.
No, but when I
And the
called
health
him that
department, the health
morning,
department guy, he went out there with us and said he was on your property.
no, but this is the situation. I called him from my home, and I told him what the situation was.
Right.
When I hung up, my husband and I talked, he said, you know, babe, you ought to go by and tell him that if they can't do anything about it, just don't say anything, because he's just gonna be adding fuel to the fire.
Right.
So I stopped on my way to work in his office. He was sitting down, and I said, I just wanted to tell you that if you can't do anything, just drive by. And if you don't think you can do anything about it, let it go, because all it's gonna do is make it worse. So after 6 weeks and 5 phone calls, and he says to me, you're from the city, I know you don't understand. How does he know where I'm from? Him and Ed Franklin sat down and had a big old long conversation about me, not just divulging who I am, but where I'm from, and the whole 9 yards. Sure, I talked to you about it because you're a board member, I was looking for help.
I know, I went out there, I've been out there 4 times or 5.
And
I've
we
tried.
don't know that because we don't get any feedback from you guys, so we don't know that. The only
Well,
feedback
call-
I got was from Howard.
Call up Howard, I went out there with you, Howard. We talked to Mr. Franklin. I went out there with Bill, you call Bill.
I'm
and I
not
went
saying
out
that you
there-
didn't go. I'm not
I
calling
think
you a liar.
you did at that office. You said, you asked me if I physically went out there, and I said.
You said
yes.
you were out there, and I said, you were out there, and you said yes, and I said, and there's no violations, and you said, no, I didn't
I
dispute you
went
being
with
there.
recommendations of Bill on the health department. I trust him.
That's
We
fine.
checked all them sewer systems. We went over there and checked that trailer, we checked all the sheds. There was no other septic systems or anything, no water hooked up to them at that time. You know, we can't go out there every day and see what it does. I mean, that's,
And I'm
because we
not,
only have a part-time building inspector. That's the biggest problem. It's a full-time job, and you'd have to cover the county all day, every day.
But
We
for
catch
that-
people all the time building houses back in the trees and stuff, and we don't know about it.
but that code enforcer, when he says to me, there are no setbacks in Bond County, there's nothing I can do about their junk. If I did something about theirs, I'd have 100 other people I'd have to take care of. Then burn your ordinances. Why even have them? I mean, I don't
Well, if
understand,
it's
and you
A-
guys
if
wouldn't
it's-
have to go through
If
this.
it's A1, you can't do anything about it.
Well, I know that the 2/10 of an acre right behind it, that they just cleared out. When I went and talked to the girl at the annex building, she told me it is vacant residential ground. So I don't know why that'd be vacant residential and the acre right in front of it would be agricultural.
Well, it has to be A1.
Okay, so here are some pictures that show the lack of the 25-foot setbacks.
There's a 25-foot setback, and that goes from
This
Salem
is-
Road
no, it
back.
doesn't.
No.
It goes right away.
from Edgewood.
And that's the
How big
Quonset
a
hut
right
that
of way
he's
is
living
that?
in, this one here.
How big a right
This is
of way
what
is that,
he's
just a
living in.
30 or?
I don't know what it is.
Because they're all different. That's another thing.
And there's supposed to be off-road parking. If they have company, you have to go in the ditch to get down the street.
Well, I have that next to me. so
I mean, this would
I
just
don't know.
indicate that there's someone residing right there.
Zach has a party.
And the junk,
Huh?
that would be the junk, this would be the residing.
Which one, Chester? I don't know. Is it the one down? That's right. So this is Winchester. I think this is all. This is the last one too? Okay. So this is the full conformable component. This is the. This is the Quonset hut. So you're saying this was separate. So this is Michael's, so there's no residences. Okay, so that was the one that the concept was converted to a residence.
If anybody wants to buy my house, you can buy it. I'll be glad to.
It's in a pretty spot right there.
It's a beautiful home.
So this is legitimate residence.
Unfortunately, I have to go past that every time I leave or come home.
Well, I think somebody just bought a house back there
Sure did.
on the left
So,
side.
so just so I understand. Ed and Betty live in this.
That was Michael's old home.
So your allegation is that Michael is in this room. Is there, what's your contention that there's like a septic system and plumbing? Okay. asking if there's been inspection.
Was it R1?
Young lady with the annex,
You think Deb-
Assessor's office or?
Assessor?
when you first
Yeah, you
walk in
think
the
Deb-
door, whoever is at this time. is
I
correct.
think Deb was.
First counter.
She was doing that a lot of.
You said you have whole lot.
That new building that's closest to your driveway, is that your building or is that their building?
That's their building.
That's their building?
Is that the whole one that sits
Mike-
one north?
Mike got evicted from his house, the one you're talking about got sold. Mike got evicted from that house.
No, wait a minute, you talking about the one on our property?
Well, that's what I was trying to decide. Do you have one out in front of your house?
We have
Yeah,
a pole barn on our
it's a
property,
pole barn.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was the one that me and Frank was trying to decide if it was
Yeah, that's-
yours or theirs.
Do you live on the north side of the road?
Yes.
And our house is back to the timber you said.
That pole barn was built in,
It was built before the house, so probably
06,
05,
05,
06.
06.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
We built that before we ever moved here.
Something like a chop shop. Perhaps.
And actually, what triggered all this was Mike got evicted from his house. He had 5 acres back there. That's one you've been talking about. Spanky got sold.
Didn't a Gooden own that for a while?
Yes.
Couldn't have rented to him, and there was an eviction about well, I can get you the exact date. It was within a week or two of the building permit for the pole barn.
Yeah, 3 days actually, to be specific. It was 3 days later after he got evicted that they built that, they got a permit to build that latest shed.
Yeah, you
Okay,
wanted
that was
that
last
property
fall.
cleaned up too.
And then Mike moved
He did
his
clean
5
up a
acres
lot.
of junk into that 2 acres of existing.
Todd.
And that's what's triggered all
That's
this.
Todd.
Yeah, quite a project.
Todd put most of that stuff there, though, didn't he?
I'm sorry?
I think Todd put most of that stuff there, didn't he?
No, that was Mike's.
That was Mike's.
Mike worked for Todd.
Yeah,
Mike worked for Todd.
Yeah, he
But
did.
that's where a lot of it came from, was from Todd, and they were buddies.
Well, and
I
then-
talked to Todd.
Yeah, and then that all went up down
Yeah,
to
it
Ed's
just all went
house.
south.
Yeah.
I believe the document will show the application was made on or about July 27th, 2015, which would be about the same time Mike was evicted.
I don't know how there can't be any power in that shed though. Frankie, that he's running our equipment, he's got impact wrenches and
Well, he can have power in it. That
everything.
doesn't mean.
I thought you said there was no power.
No,
What do we
there
need
was
to
no
expect?
water, and the electricity, there was no electricity running out to that trailer. So it
Out
used
to the
to-
trailer.
A trailer, no, not to the trailer, not to the shed.
There's
yeah.
lights
See, we was
running
there,
out all
the
the time.
power wasn't all the way hooked, to none of that, he was just getting done with it. He didn't even have it finished when we were there. He just built it.
Person talked about infantry. Is that actually?
Well, we thank you for
And
your time.
he was sleeping in that trailer, that's there on the end of it. You know,
Because there was lights on it
well,
every
Bill
day.
asked me, he says, you live there? He goes, there's no water, no electricity, when you look under there, there's no skirting on it. So you can
Well,
see
he
how-
told us he was gonna have septic put in.
Yeah, he told Bill he can get a permit. He hasn't done it yet. He hasn't put the septic in.
Brock, I think we're finished here.
I'll just close and say that the Millers have really went above and beyond in trying to remedy this, not only through the county board meeting with several members, I think quite a few members.
Yeah.
We did a FOIA where we got, quite honestly, very little information. And we're still told this is a civil suit. I don't see it as a civil suit. I see it as an enforcement issue. They've lost money. There is statutory provisions for them to bring suit when they've lost money. But I think it would necessarily bring the county in as well if we were having to do that. We're just asking for the ordinance. And I've heard a lot of things that it happens all over. But it happens all over, it doesn't work when it's next to you.
But you also gotta realize the price of ground and everything hasn't went down. There's like 125 homes for sale in Bond County. That's an overload. Huh? Yeah, yeah.
Is there 125?
Bond County altogether is 125.
that doesn't have anything to do with whether or not somebody's abiding by the code.
Right.
And so what I heard earlier is build and just don't worry about it, come back a little bit later, and everything's fine.
I think you misunderstood that.
Well, when
It
we
just
built
goes-
our
It
home-
goes on all the time, I'm trying to say. We only have a part-time administrator, and it's just pretty tough to,
When we built our home, everything was done 100% according to Hoyle.
Right.
We had the plumber come out there and put everything into the septic, and it had to lay open until we got Tom Melvin out there.
Right.
He took pictures, everything was 100% done. When they went to
well, I think his
Mr.
aeration
Franklin's
system
home.
has,
I'm sorry?
I think his aeration system has.
Well, if you would read that what they
It was
found in the
the
foyer,
one
it was
after the fact,
already,
it was never
already in
approved.
the ground when Mr.
It
Melvin
was
got there,
ground,
covered up.
Mr. Melvin signed off on it, but he said the ground was already covered up. He was not able to inspect it when it was put in. The one in 96, that's actually with the Bolton's home there,
There
that was done
never one for
entirely
that.
no permit on that.
Completely under the radar screen on that one. Because we went all the way back to 96 with the FOIA, and there were no records from 96. And I don't, I like Jason. I got nothing against Jason. He's a good kid. I
That's
got
not
no
like
problem
Jason.
with him, and I don't want him to get caught in the crosshairs. And I don't want anybody, I don't want a problem with anybody. I just want what I paid good money for to be treated just like you want yours to be treated. You wouldn't want to be living next door to what I'm living next to.
Especially when it's in violation of ordinance after ordinance after
And
ordinance.
again, like I
This
said, we're
isn't
not
just,
gonna do anything.
this isn't a
to throw it
neighborhood
away.
stat. It's on
Well,
paper, it's
I
shown.
think it is, maybe you ought to talk in private.
Well, no, I just heard that enforcement isn't able because everybody's doing it. So, in this case, we've come before the board
Well,
asking
in
for
hand, but how do
enforcement.
we control it, bro? We only have a part-time person.
We've come before we went for how long?
This is almost a year.
Almost a year.
Oh, it's over a
Trying to
year.
get
It's been 2
enforcement.
years.
It's over a year.
I tell you how long it's been.
So, I think Mr. and Mrs. Miller understand what they're hearing here today. Is that
I do clearly hear what I'm.
you may want to summarize that more than me.
I want to thank you for your time and consideration, and for listening to us. Wish there was something that could be done here.
I want to thank the board too. And did I get everything back?
Let's go back.
The one documents were yours, but the pictures, if you want.
Yeah,
copies
Glenn's
of
got
those,
the pictures, yeah.
I can
No,
get you
I get
all the pictures.
And I want to thank you as well, and only to say I'm greatly disappointed if nothing is done, and probably to say that I'm sorry I ever moved here. I thought this was going to be my retirement place, and I am so disappointed. That's all I can say. My hard-earned money, and you guys wouldn't like it if it was yours.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Brock, here's your stuff. You want to take all that?
Yeah.
Wish I knew the day was.
Pardon?
Wish I knew the day was.
Yeah.
Not to have research of the plan.
I mean, when they put in for that building, they got A1 on that column on it.
Something like that.
Yeah.
When I used to live.
Okay. We're down to early partial distribution of taxes is available. Katie said that some of the taxes districts are in dire need of money. She would probably get them some. So, real estate taxes due dates are September. First installment would be September 20th. The second installment would be October 20th. And they are sending out bills as we speak. So, Coroner's report.
I'll make a motion to approve the coroner's report for the month of July.
Roll call.
McCray.
Yes.
Workshop.
Yes.
Lugo.
Yes.
Young. Elmore.
Yes. Randy, it says coroner's request to add budget line item. Did he?
He, in his budget, he's wanting to put a specific line item, a specific name, so that we'll know where his expenses are going.
Yeah,
And he gave me that number, and I'm ready to put it in.
okay,
It's not going to affect This is for the next year's budget.
Okay, can we, oh, okay.
You can approve it or just let it go, it doesn't matter.
You'll put it in.
I'm gonna put it in,
Okay.
but we are-
Well, I don't think.
Tony and I have already talked about it.
Yeah, okay, there's nothing to do. Animal, control report, I think we have a copy of that. Looks like most of the animals are coming from the city of Greenville. About 2/3, right, right. I've sent emails to Mr. Willie, and I stopped by to see him, but we haven't been able to sit down and get together. Or the
Maybe the mayor can
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah, yeah, so. Okay, that'll get his attention. Okay, all right. Sheriff's report for the month of July.
Make a motion to approve the sheriff's report for the month of July.
Roll call.
McCray.
Yes.
Horsham.
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Luco.
Yes.
Elmore.
Yes. Old business. I think Randy has got some of the budget in, and they're starting to come, so we'll work on that.
My phone is open and so is my fax machine. The other officers want to send them to me, I'm ready.
Okay. New business. And then,
On that county bicentennial, how are we gonna be involved in it, or what are we gonna do money-wise?
well, that's one of the things they were talking about the other night on the money. They're going to be having some fundraisers and selling some different things. And they asked me how much the county, if we could come up with some money on it. So I don't think we'll need to do it until we get a new budget and look at it. And I think they're gonna count on donations a lot, so I think the money will come, but I think it'd be good if we could put some money into it, so I think I was impressed with what was going on the other night, so. A lot of people are excited, a lot of people wants to help, so. Okay. Come on, Frank. Yeah.
Make a motion to go into executive session for union contract personnel landed to pay litigation.
Roll call.
So I have a second.
Oh,
Second.
okay, roll call.
Okay, McCray.
Yeah.
Horsham.
Yes.
Luco.
Yeah.
Young.
Yes.
Elmore.
Yeah,
Bye.
we'll take about 5 minutes, and I don't anticipate anything.
Okay,
If we do, we'll give you a call.
all right, sounds good.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.